Hi guys, welcome to the second video where we do a deep dive analysis on the investment tracker. If you liked the tracker and this video was helpful for you, make sure to press the like button for the algorithm. Alright, let's get started. In this video we're gonna discuss two things. The first is gonna be how did we get the live data for the stocks, and the second is gonna be how did we get live data for the cryptocurrencies. So let's start with the stocks. The first formula we're gonna discuss is the unique formula. In this case we're drawing values from setup C31 till C69, which is basically this column over here. And the unique function is a function which retrieves only one value. So for example, if we have Pfizer written 3 times, it will only retrieve Pfizer once. And in this column, what we're doing is we're getting the local price for, in this case, Pfizer with the Google Finance function, which you probably know. C12 is in this case Pfizer. We're retrieving the price and we're saying if it's an error, give us back an empty cell. The next thing we want to do is we want to convert the local price into our own currency price, and we do this by multiplying the local price against a fixed rate. This fixed rate I've created in the following manner. I basically said that if setup D31, which is, let's go check it out what this was. Yeah, that's right. That's the currency the user inputs behind this first column. If setup D31 is the same as the main currency output, give me back 1. That's what it says over here. Setup D31 is setup I31, give me back 1. If that's not the case, I want you to give me Google Finance currency, and in this case AUR, well that's a silly example, but in this case I want you to give me USD and change it into euros. So that's how this function works. It simply checks whether it's the main output and the value entered by the user is the same. If that's true, it gives a 1, and otherwise it gives a different value. And this is obviously if C14 is empty, give me an empty value, and otherwise multiply D14 against E14. And we can see that, for example, for Palantir 19.41, let's check out Palantir. Yeah, 19.41. So that's the price we see for our converted price. Let's move on to the live data of the cryptocurrencies. So over here, the first thing you need to understand is that I created 10 tables. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. There we go. 10 tables, which means that this tracker by default supports 10 cryptocurrencies. In this table over here, we have the following function. If you remember, if you've seen my last video, you will remember the import HTML function. It can basically draw any table as long as the website's written in HTML code. And all you need is basically the link to the website, the function table, and the number of the table. I mean, you need to write down table and then the number of the table. In our case, the table is extracted from CoinGecko, and all we're doing is we're adding this last part, in our case Bitcoin, to the URL, and that's our final URL. And with this formula, we can basically extract this table. In this table, we know that the first row in the second column is the price of Bitcoin. And that's how I created this table. And this is, I call this table the cryptocurrency table. And in here, the price of Bitcoin is referred to N3, which is of course N3, and this is Q3, which is of course Theta network. So that's how I got the local prices, which are always extracted in USD dollars. And of course we have to convert this price to our local price. In this case we have a fixed conversion rate, since the first part is always USD, the second part is the main output currency, in our case euros. So we multiply the price against the fixed conversion rate and we get our local price. That's how I got the converted price. And what else do I need to explain? I think it's good for you guys to know that I also, it says 7, but it should be 1 day change. I also have a 1 day change. I used a different function called import XML function to extract this data. This function consists of 2 parts. The first part is the same as the import HTML part. It's basically the URL. And the second part is the XPath. You can find an XPath simply by selecting a website you're interested in, and then right-clicking, inspect, right-click again, copy full XPath. I'll show it at the end of the video. The same goes for market cap. Now you might wonder, why not select market cap from this table? Well, that's because for Bitcoin it's the second column, second row, but for Theta network it's the third column and third row. So it's not something I can use as a general rule of thumb for all cryptocurrencies, which is why I'm using import XML for the day change and the market cap, but for the local price I'm using import HTML. So that's how I created this part of the table. Then you have to know how to create this part. Basically I'm using 2 functions, the filter function, and what I want is I want to have the values in positions A4A, and I only want them if in column F it's cryptocurrency. So let's go to positions. I want all the values of column A, but only if column F is cryptocurrency. So that's how I got that's how I made this dynamically as well. Oh yeah, and let me show you while I'm at it the setup sheet. So how I pulled this off is I also created a filter again for the positions tab, column A, but in this scenario I want all the values except for cryptocurrencies. So I told the function to look again for the cryptocurrencies, but since I did not want them in the filter, I said is error, which is how it's giving me basically everything except the cryptocurrencies. So you know how to create this table, you know the HTML tables. I guess the only other thing I need to explain to you is that there is also a script. Let's head over to the script. Oh yeah, and obviously that if you want to own more than 10 cryptocurrencies, you'd have to go over here, copy this, paste it over here, and this function you'd have to copy, paste it over here. The only thing you have to change is the B27, the 26 to 27, this as well to 27, and you have to remember in which cell you put the formula. So AQ3 is the cell you input this formula, and AR3 is the cell where the price would come. So over here you would say, so here we're saying AQ3 is the price. Here we would say it would be AR3. And now let's move on to our script. You go to extra, then script editor. And in this script editor go to import HTML refresh. Here you can see a script which basically forces a refresh of the import HTML functions. So for example, we can see that the function decides to, in cell M3, input this formula, the formula we just saw, and in P3 this formula, and in V3 this formula, etc, etc. So let's say you add an 11th cryptocurrency, you'd have to copy this part. Instead of A and 3, you would input AQ3, and you would change this to be 27 and this to be 27 as well. So the cell you're inputting it in and the new formula. And then you'd have to press save project. That's how you change this script if you add new cryptocurrencies. And then there's one more thing, the time trigger. I put the time trigger at what did I put it again? I think I put it at every 10 minutes, but you can change this time trigger to every 1 minute or whatever, if you want. You can change the input. Since I'm now logged in on a different account, I can't change it, but let me just show you how to do this. You go to cell refresh. From based on time, you can say every minute, every 5 minutes, for example. And if you only want once per week an email, you change that and then you press save. So that's how you can change the script. Now let's move on to the last part of the video. So for whatever reason, when I'm trying to record this screen, it shows up really bright, but I hope you guys can still see this table. This is table 1, the table we're importing with the import HTML function. And now I'll also show you how we're getting the XPath for the import XML function. Simply select, for example, market cap, right click on inspect. The correct XPath will be highlighted for you automatically. Right click, copy full XPath, and you can see over here I already had it pasted. That's the XPath we are looking for. So thanks a lot for watching this video. Make sure to hit that like button and subscribe if you wish to see new content.